You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the pod. Yes, it's me, your host Adam. I'm back from my hollybobs. So thanks to Kev and Robin for looking after the place whilst I've not been here. But we're here today to talk about that phenomenal 2-1 win against Chelsea at home, which led us to that almighty place called the Europa League for next season. Amazing news, and here to discuss this with the beaming smiles as ever is Kev and Robin. How are we doing, Robin?
Oh, mate, I'm buzzing still. I mean, I'm tired, obviously getting home, journey home today and that. Obviously quite a late night last night with probably a few too many beverages. But yeah, I mean, I'm ecstatic. Absolutely ecstatic. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's fully hit me yet that, what we've done and how momentous it is, really.
Excellent. And Kev, likewise, how are you today, mate?
Yeah, buzzing, mate. I mean, as we've said in many, many pods, at the start of the season before a ball was kicked, staying out of the relegation zone was probably the objective, 40 points and all that. And here we are, dusting off the passports because next season things are about to get a whole lot busier.
Indeed. Let's get straight into the nitty-gritty. Let's just talk about that performance from the lads from minute one to what felt like an eternity at the end instead of 10 minutes. What I want to know is your lads' thoughts. That was exceptional from the get-go.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we wanted it. It was clear from the kickoff that the plan was to go out and attack them and win that game. And, make sure that we keep it in our hands, do our bit, and then obviously hope that the results go in our favour, which obviously, thankfully, they did.
100%. Yeah, we came out from the minute one. Well, to be fair, before the first minute, let's be honest, if you're on that team bus, we'll talk about this, I'm sure, in depth. If you are on that team bus, just like the lads were on the way to the semi-finals last season, that atmosphere walking to the ground was phenomenal. If you're not up for that game, you turned up at the wrong stadium. That was mental. And I think that's what it was. It bled through to the start of the game, if that makes sense. I think the whole event is what that was. That was a cup final for us, and we made Chelsea feel it, if that makes sense. It just, yeah, from the minute the referee blew that whistle, the lads were just 100 mile an hour.
No, that's perfectly what I was going to just give my thoughts on. It's just the fact that if you look at from the get-go, everything was cheered once again. Every throw-in was cheered. Every tackle was cheered. We just seemed the hungrier of the two. Obviously, we'll touch on the goals in just a moment, which were very well taken. And obviously, Trey Hume's goal was just sensational on the volley, which we'll come on to because Kev's favourite man, Mr. Luke 09, with the assist, so which is even better. But if you look at that team lineup, 3 of those 11 played in the final last season to get us up to the Premier League, and we had our doubt. We've said a lot all through the pods this season. We've had our doubters saying, "Oh, you're going to go up, you're going to get relegated, or we finished 24 points above you and stuff like that." We've just proven something by getting into the Prem and say, right, we're not just going to be safe, we're going to one up it, and we did, and we got Europe. I'm just lost for words still, to be fair, lads.
I think Robin is as well. It makes a change.
Yeah, to be honest, no, I was just thinking there, it's just racking my head of what Adam said then. I thought it was only 2 of the starting 11 were in the last year's final.
Well, I mean, when you think Luke played like 3 minutes.
Human 09, yeah, and obviously, Riggy and Isidore obviously coming, off the bench and that to make it 4. But yeah, I mean, while we talk about Luke, I mean, come on, everyone knows that I've doubted him from the moment we got promoted to the Championship, and we spoke about it in the preview. What a man!
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to say, what a man! For him to do what he's done, to join us in League One as a complete unknown, have a bit of a nightmare debut, and now to play in a match which will go down in folklore.
Mm-hmm.
And the last few weeks since obviously, Ballard's, got suspended, Alderete got injured and that, for him to come in and play the way he's done, absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah, look, I don't know if Luke listens to us, but I hope he does, because hand on heart, fair play to the lad, absolutely brilliant, absolutely fantastic. He is at home in the Premier League. He has shown he can play at this level. And next season, he's going to get the opportunity to play in the Europa League. I mean, phenomenal for him. I mean, his personal journey. But not just that with him, having his self-doubt to make it as a footballer, but what he does also with his coaching and stuff, with the youngsters and that. And everything. Look, I don't want to fangirl him like Kev does, but he deserves it. Come on. What an absolute player he's been for us this season. And to be fair, the way he stepped up, I mean, obviously, look, Granit Xhaka's going to be player of the season, for most people, because I think he's sent us to absolutely everything we do. But you got to think for Luke as well, Granit came in, took his captaincy as well, which will destroy players. And he's just kept on and not stopped learning from him. He's so much of an important person within this squad of players. Kev, take it away, mate.
Look, I mean, it's well known. I am probably one of Luke's biggest fans. The truth of the matter is, I've been on a similar journey to Luke, not in the footballing world. I'm never going to profess to be a professional footballer. Probably not even lace the lad's boots. But yeah, I went somewhere for a job once and was told, you'll not make it. You're different to the rest. You sound different. And that was when I moved from the south to the north. I was told by a sales manager, you won't make it here because you sound different to the local lads. And I think that's what it is for Luke. Luke jumped in that car 8 years ago, came to the Northeast, and from pretty much day one had doubters. And every moment he had, people went, he's not good enough. He's League One at best. He's not even League One. He's, all the rest of it. Anyone that wants to doubt him, doubt him. Do what you want to do. But I would say to any fan that listens to this pod, go and look at Luke's Instagram or Twitter. Look at what his message is tonight. He hears it. He knows what people think. He reads the social media. And he's actually almost, in my opinion, stuck 2 fingers up and said, do you know what? You don't think I can do it, but I can. That lad has done more for this club, in my opinion, than some of the fans' favourites, shall we say. But because he's not popular in certain groups, he's doubted. For me, the last 3 weeks, so the last 6 games, I think it is, or 4 games, whatever it is, since Ballard got suspended, Luke has proven he could step up at any moment. And to me, he's delivered borderline man of the match performances. It's just because players around him have upped their game that, as a whole, it's kind of not been him that picked up the man of the match award. I mean, against Chelsea just now, it was probably a toss up between him, Enzo, and Xhaka, and I believe Xhaka got the award.
Yep.
The previous game, it was probably between Enzo and Luke, and Enzo picked up the award. So, yeah, I mean, it blows my mind that people can still doubt the lad. I get it; he's got the liability moments, but he gave them nothing. He gave Chelsea absolutely nothing. You know, Gusto was throwing him on the floor at one point. Then it was that Colwell kid. They didn't know how to mark him. And it just made me laugh from a fan's perspective, looking at it going, he's done pretty much the entire football pyramid quicker than some clubs can.
I just want to add before Adam takes us on a bit. Just want to finish with Luke.
Mhm.
Apart from that moment against Man City, he put that behind him, and since then, every time he stepped on the pitch, with the exception of the Port Vale FA Cup match, every time he stepped on the pitch, I'll say in the Premier League, then he's been outstanding. And I think it isn't, if there's any young kids listening and that to us as well, there's a saying that obviously I used to say it in when I was coaching, that hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard enough. And that's it. Luke has the right mentality, and he's shown it because he's got to the very top level that he can play in this country, and he's got himself into Europe, and he's been a major part in that. So, yeah, Luke 09.
No, Robin, you literally took the words out of my mouth. I was just about saying that all the doubters came out as soon as that red card against City. Everyone's like, oh, you can tell he's a championship player at best. And then he dusted himself down, worked his way back into the team, and he's proven himself more and more. And I think he'll be still a decent force for us next season as well, to be fair. But I want to talk about the goals because obviously I want to make sure everything's covered, shall we say, today as much as we can. So let's talk about the goals. First of all, Trey Hume's goal. Obviously, the honourable mention once again to Luke to be still up the field, shall I say, when that ball came over from Roofs for a beautiful knockdown, and then that volley from Trey to get it into the corner with that much precision to go past arguably a very good keeper, should I say. He has done well in spells this season. That was just the second goal of the season from Trey. Yes, we've seen him score goals in the past in the Championship and somewhat could say slightly better ones, but to hit it like that, outstanding. I want to get your thoughts on the first, Kev, if I can. Just the way that was just the deftest of volleys.
I mean, it's just where it's probably been practiced in training. They've probably seen strengths and weaknesses for ways to break through. And I think that's exactly what they've done. Roofs has played a very, very good sort of free kick, I think it was, up. Luke's done the right thing. He's knocked it on. To be honest, he's probably played it in a way that he's thought it's going to get crossed into the box. But Hume's hit it. I've seen people online saying, oh, he's not hit it cleanly. That's why it's done what it did. It doesn't matter how it ends up in the back of the net. Like, come on, give the lad credit. He scored. That's the frustration for me. Is despite how amazing the game was and the result was, there was still so many nitpicking moments from people saying that wasn't what he tried to do. This is what he should have done. That's how he could have done it. And it's like, at the end of the day, it got us the first goal. And to be honest, if you look at FootMob, we had all the momentum anyway.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't like we caught them on the hop. It wasn't a one-off. We were literally all over them, bar their goal. But you'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we should have probably been 2 goals up by then.
True.
I'm going to be devil's advocate, Kev, for you. You never tell anyone to do that. I think obviously he tried to put his laces through it and put it into the far corner. But, he's on the stretch, come off the side of his foot, but it went in the back of the net. And at the end of the day, that's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You want the ball to go in the back of the net. It doesn't matter how it goes in the back of the net. I mean, when you look at the Everton goal last week, it was a deflection from Xhaka which took it past roofs. And that's the thing. You don't know. And he got himself into a position, hit the ball, and it went in the back of the net. It was quite weird because obviously I'm at the opposite end of you, Kev, and I don't know what you thought of it, but a lot of people thought that it had gone wide and sort of like hit the boards behind the goal. And
because of the way it bounced up. But yeah, because it hit the camera in the back of the goal. It bounced in a weird way. Yeah.
And that delay.
Everyone was the same, I think.
And then obviously everyone realised it's gone in. I mean, but yeah, look, I've said it before. To win the lottery, you have to buy a ticket.
Mm.
And he had a shot.
Indeed.
And he hit the jackpot. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, indeed, mate. Perfect. Let's move on to the second goal then. So obviously my golden boy of the year, Enzo. Lovely little bit of play. Obviously held up originally from Robbie. Out then played into Xhaka to Geertruida. With that pass from Geertruida to Enzo, the vision on that small angle, shall we say, because obviously he was getting closer and closer to the byline, to pull it back. Robbie got obviously a touch on it, but it then went in for an own goal. But it's like you said there, Robin, if to use your analogy, if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the lottery. That is effectively what we did. We put a lot of pressure on them, said, right, look what we can do. Ball came across. Robbie, yes, obviously scuffed at it a little bit. Obviously, it was going, we'll all agree, I'm sure, it was going wide. But then the Chelsea mans tried to clear it and stabbed it home. I wanted to get your thoughts on it first, Robin, if that's all right.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, it's like it was nice play by Enzo, and that, and to say Hatrowler had done his bit, but, like you say, you have to put it in there, and we deserve to be more than 2-0 up by then anyway. We were all over them. But again, not jumping ahead too much, but you look at Cole Palmer's goal, Russ was really at fault with that, but Cole Palmer took the shot. And that's the thing, you take the shot you don't know, and that's it. You try and put it in the back of the net. And look, the goal itself was probably a bit fortunate, but the build-up play and everything wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Go on then, Kev.
That was what I was going to mention, was the build-up to it was everything you'd expect from a top Premier League team. It was clean, it was precise, it got through them. The pass, like you say, was weighted brilliantly to take it almost right to the edge of the pitch, which for me, a lot of the time, defenders start to switch off thinking this has gone out of play, he's not getting to that. And for him not to even take a touch, he just straight in it went. It just proved that he was, again, it was something probably they knew there was a gap there to get in. And yeah, Robbie doesn't get a clean hit on it.
Mm-hmm.
He gets a clean strike on that, it's probably going in.
Mm-hmm.
But, it just had to take a detour via their defender. Like Robin said, we could have probably been two goals better off than that at that point anyway, because not long beforehand, their keeper pulled off a cracking save to say, keep it, 1 goal. And yeah, that goal goes in. Not long after, he has another chance, doesn't he? And obviously, mate, that could have easily been a 3-4 something scoreline.
Yeah, when he was through, it should have been in the back of the net. I mean, our Sanchez saved that. I mean, like Adam said, he can be brilliant, but he can also be absolutely atrocious. I think it was one of his better games.
Mm-hmm.
He pulled off a couple of good saves in that. But yeah, I mean, it's we look. End of the day, there can be no complaints about that result whatsoever.
Exactly, definitely, mate. Just obviously, you both have touched briefly on Palmer's goal, so I'm not going to cover it in loads of glory. I do agree with you slightly, Robin. Roofs was at fault on a different. I think on another day, that's parried wide, and out for a
Well,
corner
to be
instead.
fair, he held his hands up straight away.
Yeah, indeed. The one thing I did want to cover, we can be neutral at times, and obviously when we've spoken about our thoughts on red cards for not just ourselves, for other teams that we've played, I do want to get your guys' thoughts on the double yellow for Fofana, because the first yellow, yes, obvious yellow card. I've got no complaints about that. The second yellow, personally speaking, do we think that was a little bit harsh because he was pushed into the man, or are we going to just say, Chelsea, you were awful today, you deserve the red card?
Wait, sorry for jumping in, Kev. Fofana could have had 2 yellow cards before he got his first one.
Of course, yeah.
They were a terrible team, like physically, like dirty. How Neto stayed on the pitch is a miracle. I think Kavanagh was not strong enough. I think he was like refereeing like, oh, they're a big 6 club. Let's not be too harsh on them. They should have really been down, I think, 8 men. Yeah, there was 2 fouls in that because I think there was another defender that grabbed him first, but then Fofana wrapped his arms around him and dragged him down. It's a debatable red card. Never mind a second yellow. But the thing is, though, it probably went in our favour in the way that second yellow can't be reviewed.
Yeah.
But what got me, especially, and this is the thing, after Reece James came on, before that it was happening, but after Reece James came on, they surrounded and hounded the ref constantly on every single thing.
Yeah.
That's not meant to happen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he not strong enough to deal with that?
Indeed.
That was what it was for me. Yes, it was definitely for me another yellow. So yeah, Fofana walks for that. But you are right. I think Fernandez had so many chances he got away with. So when he only gets carded in the 70th minute or whatever it was, he's got lucky, in my opinion, because I think that yellow he got in the 69th or 70th minute, it was late on. Realistically, should have been his second yellow. It's just like Robin said, because he didn't get one earlier in the game, because the referee didn't want to get involved in this. What do they call it? It's something like disturbing the run of the game or something, isn't it? Anyway,
Yeah, you don't want to disrupt the flow. That's the thing. But there's disrupting the flow. I mean, there's one of the ones where obviously Fofana had already been booked when he pulled Bobby back when Bobby broke, and the ref played on, but he didn't book him. That should have been a yellow card straight away. Because he gave the signal. Obviously, I'm playing advantage. Now, in the rule book now, if you pull somebody back, it is a yellow card. He didn't do his job. That's the problem. We had it against Man United.
Yeah.
The referees don't do their job. I mean, you look at, getting off subject, but you look at Arsenal this year, Gabriel headbutting Haaland, things, all the fouls they've had like leading up to goals which have gone in their favour when they've been attacking corners. Things like that. They don't want to upset the so-called big clubs. And the refereeing is not neutral. No matter what they say and whatever directives, the clubs in the so-called top 6 get preferential treatment.
Indeed. Never know, with us having Europe next season, we might get a little bit of special treatment, possibly, hopefully. But obviously, the one thing I think we all found hilarious is before a ball was kicked during the game, the lovely visitors up the road were giving the big uns, saying obviously they're going to finish above us, they're going to do this, it's going to be hilarious, XYZ. Look where we finished now, lads. We finished 7th and we're in Europe. They finished 12th and got a drumming of Fulham 2-0. To me, I think that was the icing on the cake of a perfect day for everything. Europe being above them, because we all said at the start of the season, yes, we want to survive. We would love to get one over them, not just one win in the season, to have them beaten twice, and to end the season with only one team doing a double over us completely. To me, I think that's just an outstanding and an incredible achievement.
Well, look, we did the double over, then we did the double over Chelsea.
Exactly, mate. Yeah.
You know, and obviously them 6 easy points propelled us into 7th place and got us qualifying for the Europa League, not the Conference League, the Europa League. You know, a competition which has got some big European clubs in it. When you look at the projected pots and stuff like that, with the way things are finished, you got Juventus, AC Milan from Italy and things. You know, it's phenomenal what we could do. I mean, I've had texts, you know, from mates and that, like, you know, which support the visitors, going, we're going to have to think of a new song now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is it. I mean, I don't really want to bring them up, but you did, Adam. I don't think they're worth mentioning, to be honest, on this pod. You know, I think, you know, this was about us beating Chelsea and obviously finishing 7th. We'd have all been happy with 17th and have finished 10 places above that. Absolutely phenomenal. What a season. What an absolute brilliant season.
Indeed.
It is exactly that, and you know, it's one of those where that final whistle went, and I think everyone's probably seen the highlights now. The players all surrounded each other on the pitch, trying to see what was showing on Talby's phone. He didn't have enough signal, so Ballard then comes on the pitch on his crutches, gets his phone out. This is obviously just in front of where you sit, Robin, and they're all huddled up, looking, trying. Most of the people in the crowd already know the result at this point. Somehow we managed to have signal for the first time this season, and obviously just the sheer elation when they realised that we finished 7th.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I just want to think about players that left us. Tommy Watson, I'm looking at you, to go to Brighton, who finished below us. I mean, thank you for your goal in the playoff finals, Tommy, but he's probably watched that game and gone, what on earth is going on? Like, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, this season finished after Millwall obviously lost to Hull in the playoff semi-finals, but, you know, he scored that wonderful goal for us that got us up there, and we got the money for him, which went towards bringing in some of these players that we have done.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you think about that, the impact of some of the players that have come in. I mean, obviously, like you were, you know, a bit before fangirling Enzo, mate, but, you know, £20 million, and we got him on loan in the Championship.
Exactly.
I mean, he's been an absolute find.
Yeah.
I know there's history with him, and obviously Regis, and obviously with Gisolfi as well. But, well, I mean, what a player. The recruiting team, you know, pulled out some absolute gems this season.
Yeah, and long may it continue. One thing I'll drawing everything to a close is pretty much just touching on, obviously, similar to what we've just been saying there about the lads getting huddled together, trying to find out each other on Talby's phone. No signal, let's look at Ballard. Luke mentioned, pretty much touched on it on his post-match comments, saying he went for, when it was a quick water break, he heard the fans going, Luke, we made Europe, and he's like, leave me alone. I can't think about that right now. And what the special thing for me was, at the end of the game, he ran into the crowd and hugged Dan Neil and Lyndon Gooch, two die-hard Sunderland fans, to see their team reach Europa. Obviously, yes, Dan Neil comes back after his loan spell from Ipswich, I do potentially am seeing going on a perm to Ipswich now. But to see Luke do that, that speaks volumes again about Luke's character to actually go, come on, you two have been here from being kids, playing, getting us to the, like, obviously, Daniel to the Prem. And Lyndon, you've done your bit to get us into the Championship.
I mean, you got to think, Lyndon made his debut when we were in the Prem anyway.
Exactly, yeah. Thank you.
You know, it's sort of full circle for him. But to be fair, I mean, Dan Neal is still our player until June the 30th when he's out of contract. But you'd expect him there anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if Everton weren't playing, I'd have expected Pickford there as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just the fact is that, you know, we're a special club, a special club.
Yeah.
And I think that's all you can really say, mate. I mean, I know obviously we're going to, maybe later in the week or next week early, you know, we're going to do a season review sort of thing for everything. But, I mean, for this, to end the season with a game like that, with an atmosphere like that, it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, my only hope is that, you know, Lucius signs his deal because we need him. He is such a talented, multi-purpose player, and especially with Europa League next season, we are going to need more players that are of that calibre.
Indeed. Kev, do you want to sign us out?
I just think, you know, to everyone that's listened all season long, you know, thank you for putting up with the moans, the groans, the tangents. You know, after 38 games, we've finished way beyond everyone's expectations. And obviously, like Robin's just said there, we'll review the season probably later on in the week. Obviously, the club have said all the access, all area stuff's coming out Wednesday and other news. So I'm wondering if there might be some contracty bits coming out, if there might be maybe a shirt release or rumoured shirt. Yeah, let's just say this one thing, lads. It's going to get interesting next year.
Indeed. Nice way to end it there. But lads, thank you as ever for joining me. Everyone listening in, as Kev just said, I can't thank him enough for that. It's been a phenomenal ride, these 38 games. We've had some highs, we've had some lows, and we've ended up on a massive high, 7th in the league, European football next season. Robin, what do you want to say finally there, buddy?
One final thing.
Go for
I
it.
mean, Kev said it. If we're away in Europe on your wedding, mate, that plane might be delayed.
I might be on that plane too. But no, lads. Kev, thank you very much for joining me, mate.
Yeah, my pleasure, mate.
And Robin, likewise, thank you, mate.
Mate, absolute pleasure. I mean, it's virtually the wrap to another end of the season. I mean, considering where we started and where we were, you know, to be on this journey together with the club is phenomenal, lads. So thank you as well.
Exactly. That's once again amazing news. And as ever, everyone, we'll see you in Europe.